Yeah, so my name's Alex Curd. I'm part of the marine management, the marine planning team in the Marine Management Organisation, and I'm just going to talk to you a bit about marine planning in the East, some of the contacts that we have with licensing, how the marine planning team links up with licensing, and about why we're replacing the East Plan, how we think it's going to look to develop a new East Plan, and then go over a few of the issues and evidence that we're going to expect as well, and a lot of the challenges that will come out of that, and then the next steps, a bit of where we are now. So I think a lot of you do know that the marine area is a very busy place. It's only getting busier. There's a lot of demand on marine resources, and marine planning is the process we're trying to use to manage the use of these marine resources. And in this, we want to try to optimise coexistence and co-location and facilitate basically sustainable marine development. Essentially, we want to make sure the right activities happen in the right way, at the right place, at the right time. So just a bit of context, marine planning is very similar to local authorities' planning policy development teams, and our marine licence team is very similar to the development management team in the marine. We do have this crossover in the intertidal area between mean high water springs and mean low water springs, and that basically means that a lot of people that apply for a marine licence or planning application in this area will also have to have a marine licence, or vice versa. So how marine planning links with licensing. So marine plan informs decision makers throughout consenting, and under the Marine and Coastal Access Act, our licensing team is a decision maker, and the licensing is a plan-led system. So all of the decisions that our licensing team will be making on marine licensing will be informed by marine plans, and for this they'll be using a marine plan policy assessment tool, and this just assesses whether the proposal is compliant with the applicable marine plans and see if there's any conflicts throughout. So this brings us to the East Marine Plan. So the East Marine Plan was our first marine plan. It was the first iteration. It was adopted 10 years ago in 2014, and it ranged from Floundering Head up in the north and down to Felixstowe. There are two plan areas. So one is the East Inshore Plan area and one is the Offshore Plan area. And we report on the East Plan and all the marine plans every 3 years. And these reports go on to inform DEFRA, the Secretary of State, to see the state of marine planning and whether the marine plan needs to be replaced. So in 2020, the Secretary of State of the Environment did agree to replace the East Marine Plans. One of the driving factors of this was new legislation and new government targets. But also, we've come a long way, as I said. It's been 10 years since we developed our first marine plan, the East Marine Plan. So we now have all the other marine plans in place. So most recently we have the Southwest, Southeast, Northeast and Northwest adopted in 2021. And these have just built on the East Plan. We've got topics that weren't already covered. We've got policies that weren't included in the East Plan. So it's also a time to update. And it's an opportunity to make the plan more spatial. Planning in general wants to become more spatial, more prescriptive, to help better manage our seas, and then in the hope that we will improve how we meet the goals of having a clean, healthy, safe, productive, biologically diverse oceans and seas. And also help consider the challenges and opportunities that competing demands in our seas do bring us. So earlier this year we had a statement of public participation where we set out what we intend to do for the marine plan to our stakeholders. So we had consultations that we held in Great Yarmouth, Boston, Bridlington, and online for those who couldn't attend those in person. We had our comments back, and then we finally published this on the 22nd of April, and this is now available online for you to access. So where are we now? I think a lot of you might be very familiar with the planning wheel, so I'll try not to spend too much time on it. But we've had our statement of public participation, and now we're in the process of identifying issues and gathering evidence. At the moment, we're looking internally. Our policy leads are finding what evidence out there, what evidence is related that they've been collecting over the last, throughout their jobs, basically, and trying to see what we can predict will be there in the East, but we will be going through a stakeholder engagement part, which I will get onto a bit later. And then we'll just go through an iterative process of producing options, how we address those issues, and then we'll plan the draft the plan even, and those policies, which we'll then consult on and eventually, hopefully, adopting. So when we talk about evidence in marine planning, we talk about quite a range of different materials. So we think about legislation, which is the Marine and Coastal Act, for example. We have to look at national policy, such as the Marine Policy Statement, and things like the Energy Security Strategy. We look at local plans and strategies, so maybe river basin management plans, local terrestrial plans, and ALNB management plans as well. Of course, we look at research from scientific papers, reports, and studies, and we also specifically commission some work, and I'll give you a bit of a taster of some of the work we've commissioned as well. And then we also consider spatial information and stakeholder interests. We will be going out to engagement throughout this development process, and of course we do have formal consultation as well. So some of the things we're looking at in the East, we have to identify the issues and challenges which can be both positive and negative, and then develop policies to address these issues. So of course, a lot of what we're talking about today includes some of the topics and issues that we have to tackle with the marine plan in the East. So for example, like renewables and aquaculture, renewables, especially offshore wind, again, spoken about in great detail today. Seeing issues with underwater noise, all those cumulative effects that can occur throughout development and throughout the life cycle of offshore wind. If you think of aquaculture, we have to think about what infrastructure needs to be in place and how that co-location may work between different types of topics, things like that with fisheries, for example. And we have to think about what jobs can be created in the area as well. With marine protected areas, a lot of work obviously is being done for each marine protected area itself. Our policies focus more on the ecological coherence side of things. We want to try to protect that and improve it if possible. And then we also have to consider climate change, which is obviously an upcoming problem for everyone, and I'll be going on a bit about end space in a bit and talk about some of the projects we've got for that. So a couple of examples of our evidence projects. We've had now published the carrying capacity approach, which is a pilot in the East Marine Plan areas. So this is looking at 5 capitals, and it's now available online. And this was done by Ham Marine Consulting. And so this is looking at manufactured capital, so looking at financial capital, social capital, human capital, and natural capital, of course. It's very much a thought piece. So it may be included in decision making later on down the line, but it was thought it was too early for the East Marine Plan. We have another project which will be published soon, which is understanding exploring coexistence opportunities and displacement issues in offshore wind and other sectors, and hopefully that'll be available to you soon. And the project we're now commissioned and working on at the moment is looking at seascape characterisation mapping for the East Marine Plan area. And all of these projects are available to access either through the link, or you can just Google MMA evidence projects. So now onto M-Space, which is a project we're involved in, as well as numerous other organisations. It's run by the Plymouth Marine Laboratory, and it's looking at marine and spatial planning addressing climate effects. And their goal is to support the UK nations in the development and implementation of climate smart marine planning. There are 4 work packages going on in this. So first of all, it's developing an early warning system. It's looking at how we can anticipate the issues and challenges that climate change are causing marine planning, or may cause marine planning, marine spatial planning, especially in the UK. Work package 2 is looking at the values of local stakeholders and their priorities and how that can input into decision making. Work package 3 is looking at how economic evaluation of marine planning strategies and how impacts on resources affect things like jobs and income and all those economic things. And then finally, work package 4, which is looking at bringing everything together and making sure that any outputs, any recommendations that come from the Space project is not just climate smart, but also economically viable and socially acceptable. Again, more information is available online. The SMMR, wherever did release a video on this as well, so please do have a look at that if you can. And then we have our sustainability appraisal, which is a key piece of evidence for us that informs development of the East Marine Plan, informs policies during the option stage. For the sustainability appraisal, we are taking a natural capital approach on this in hopes to explore ways to improve and extend the use of natural capital in decision making. So in this work, we will be developing asset register and possibly a risk register. However, this process is still in the scoping stage, although the scoping stage is just ending soon, so maybe going to engagement later this year. However, with the news from yesterday, can't say much about that at the moment. So again, think about yesterday as well. Please look at these timings as sort of general. Can't confirm anything. But at some point we will be going to, we are currently in the stage of issue with supporting evidence. We'll be going to engagement at some point. Then hopefully next year we'll be starting to develop policy and plan drafting after several engagement points with our stakeholders. And then in this time, sustainability appraisal should be in a similar stage as well, like available for consultation. And then we'll have a full-on public consultation at the end of 2025 with the hopes that we will adopt in 2026. So yeah, the next stage that we're going to is we're going to look at issues supporting evidence with our stakeholders over this summer. We'll be looking for any information and evidence, key issues and topics in the East Marine Plan area, so we'll be getting in touch. These may be announced soon, but again, caveat from yesterday. So again, please, ignore timings. But the engagement will be live for 12 weeks, I can tell you that, and there will be 3 face-to-face workshops that will be estimated, won't be estimated to take place in July, it won't, but it will be taking place at some point. So please do QR code. I will leave this at the end. I've just got 2 at the end, just so you and this will register to receive planning, so you can be involved in the stage. And if you want to get in contact, Mark McGuire is our marine planner. It's been in post now, I think 6 months. And we are getting a new soon as well, so there will be 2 of them, but contact and contact our inbox as well. Thank you very much.